Hey everybody, welcome to another really big show here at the Midas Letter RAW studio. We got big pal Ed Milewski joining me as per usual. Special Ed, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, but I've got a watchful eye on the S&P.
What's going on with the S&P, Edward?
Don't like today's action.
No?
The candle, I'm not making a prediction here, but it looks like it's trying to rally and it's rolling over.
Failing miserably?
It's not failing miserably, but it's
what's our RSI telling us?
Well, you know, it's still like we've bounced off a 3 week. We're at about near a 3 week high, but we're not going anywhere. We've been here now.
We're treading water.
We're treading water. And so enough said about that.
So what do you think? What do you think? Is it are we going into a slide here? Is it time to buy gold? Is it time to buy silver?
Listen,
it's time to buy blow.
Gold has been a bit of a sweet spot as far as I'm concerned.
Right. Okay.
Well, so that's what I'm looking at, and I'm looking at the marijuana sector, and it doesn't look like it's catching any love right now.
Really. It is a summer doldrums. We are in the last weeks of August here. Certainly the volumes across the board are down. I'm looking at, you know what? We need to look at the NDI here for sure. Okay. Can you see the NDI there in the control room? Okay. So, right again, another down day of like extreme proportions in cannabis. This time down 5.39% on the Midas Letter Large Cap Index. That's all companies above $500 million in market cap, of which there's now, what, 3 left?
You know, just looking at your nice chart there, the long-term chart, it looks like it's starting to roll over and drop at an accelerated rate. Like the trend that's in place there seems to be accelerating. That's
down here, you mean?
Right there.
Look at that.
Yeah, see?
Okay.
Well, you got to look at a bigger. You can't really get a just.
So the dawn is darkest, or the night is darkest before the dawn.
That's when we're going to get a blow off, a couple day blow off, and then back in. Back in with impunity.
Back in. Well, so okay, the correlation to the S&P 500 in the cannabis space is really decoupled because look at this. Look at this. The venture index down 17.5% one day.
What?
Down 17.5%.
No, that's
one day.
impossible.
This is data. It's not impossible. This is the numbers. They don't lie.
Can you get it up?
Can I get it up? Jesus, you got any Viagra?
What are you talking about?
Actually, you know, I heard that the chalice was the better way to go.
Chalice?
Yeah, I heard. You notice I say I heard?
You know what?
What? Is that what's holding up the table over there?
Watch this. No hands, everybody. No hands.
Okay, let's try to keep this G-rated today. All right, let's talk about what's happening on our show today. There's a beautiful view of the rooftop of the TD Tower. Alessandro Bruno is our news bitch of the day. Alessandro joining us for the first time, his inaugural debut as news nurse. Then we're going to be joined by Mr. Stan Barty, CEO and chairman of African Gold Group, a company that's been hot to say the least. And then Narbe Alexandrian is going to join us. He's the CEO of Canopy Rivers. He's going to give us an update on their business. Matthew McDonald from RavenQuest Biomed joins us. And then, of course, all of the usual shenanigans between Edward and I. Send in your questions. And don't forget to pop in some comments into the YouTube chat box. And also don't forget to subscribe in the lower right of your screen down there. Or was it over there? I don't freaking know. And you can also tweet to us, so nobody's going to respond to you, and chances are you might get some rude comments back, but that's just the way we roll around here. Edward, so you said the S&P is looking a little irresolute today and has an ugly candle.
It's tried to rally. There's a little, we could put up a chart if you want, or you want to
see it. I want to see the chart.
You don't want to go to the news yet?
Do you think I'm going to trust you? Not quite yet. 2 minutes.
All right.
2 minutes till the news. We got 2 minutes for your your insight. Your scintillating intellectual commentary.
Look.
You know how to run that thing?
No. You know what?
Do I need to get that monkey back out here to show you how it's done? Hey, can we get the chimpanzee back out here on the set? I've just forgotten how to use his charting tool.
Here we go. My tool.
Tool.
There. See,
he has got it.
Double, bottom there.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we try to rally, but here we got a top. And all these tops, they're closing a little lower, okay? Even though they try to go into this area, but this is going to come to some resolution here.
So lower highs and lower lows.
But
what does that mean?
It's still like, you know what this looks like? It's setting up for maybe a month or two of this. It might coincide with October.
Yes.
So we've got...
Ooh, October.
Ooh, you know that looks like a Tesla car, I think. Look at it.
It looks like a dinosaur on wheels. Those are little speed lines.
Put a little light, get some lights here.
Anyways, here's the Alessandro Bruno with the news.
Here's what's making cannabis headlines today. Cresco Labs announced its financial statements for the second quarter 2019. Q2 revenue was $29.9 million, adjusted EBITDA was $14.5 million, net loss was reportedly $3.9 million, cash and cash equivalents were $61.1 million, with zero debt on the balance sheet. TerraSend announced its financial statements for the 6 months ended June 30th, 2019. Q2 revenue was $17.5 million. Net loss was $19.1 million, or 37 cents per share. Cash and cash equivalents was $17 million. Chiron Life Sciences provided an update on its cultivation and production operations near Ibagué, Colombia, where it has achieved significantly expanded analysis, extraction, and purification capabilities across its cultivation facility. Chiron currently owns and operates one of the most sophisticated medical cannabis cultivation and processing facilities in Latin America. The 14,000 square foot GMP and ISO compliant lab now includes full capabilities in testing flower and extract samples to accurately analyze samples, identify active cannabis components, and ensure that products are extracted and purified to meet local regulations. The facility is also vertically integrated, allowing all stages of cannabis production, from soil to flower to extract, entirely within its own facility. Zenabis Global has signed definitive documentation with respect to $25 million in the new senior secured debt financing from RC Morris Capital Management Limited. The amended and restated debenture, in which RCM is now one of the lenders, now represents $50 million in senior secured debt. The new senior debt will bear interest at a rate of 14% per annum, payable monthly. The senior debt will have a maturity date of June 30th, 2020. Parcel Pal Technology has a secured distribution agreement with Afria for delivery of medical cannabis to patients. Patients can purchase product from Afria's online store and utilize the Parcel Pal technology platform to receive their product safely and legally. All customers will be able to track their purchase in real time and have their product delivered directly to any location they specify within Calgary. Lexaria Bioscience announced the online commercial launch of Charge D Plus, a water-soluble, multi-spectrum hemp oil in a powdered format and then powdered with dehydrotech for fast, effective delivery. Charged Plus uses multi-spectrum hemp oil and does not use CBD isolates that deprive consumers of the synergistic benefits of multi-spectrum oils. Fire and Flower has received 2 additional cannabis retail store licenses from the Alberta Gaming, Liquor and Cannabis Commission for locations in Edmonton. The company anticipates these stores to be open and commence selling cannabis during the week of September 9, 2019. High Tide announced that the Canna Cabana retail store, located in the city of Bonnyville, received its first delivery of cannabis products from Alberta Gaming, Liquor and Cannabis, and has begun selling recreational cannabis for adult use. The company currently has 18 branded Canna Cabana locations selling recreation cannabis products across Canada. And that's your news for today. For more of the headlines moving cannabis markets, visit the Cannabis Daily on MidasLetter.com.
I'm joined now by Stan Barty, Chairman and CEO of Africa Gold Group. Stan, welcome back.
Thank you very much. Good to see you again.
You too. It's been a number of years. We've just come out through the other end of a nuclear winter of mining equities. But African Gold Group's been on fire lately, and you just today announced that you had completed a $5 million private placement. Tell me what's going on with the project. Where is it? What are the metrics?
So let me start by first telling you that we see a big uptick in the gold price and the gold sector. The psyche has changed, and you're right. We came through this 3 years of winter, and it was a long winter. I mean, gold stocks, I've never seen them drop so fast. They were down 90%, 80%, especially the juniors. So the biggest leverage is in juniors. And you know, I've been very fortunate. We first got into the gold market in 95. We called it right. We did very well. Then in 03, we called the gold market, did it. And all the money we've made, all the returns to our shareholders have been in the junior gold sector, where you have a good asset, somewhat undervalued, which needs good management teams, good operational skills, but the returns are phenomenal. So one of the best assets we have in our group now, Forbes and Manhattan, is African Gold Group.
Right.
And we've been in Africa for many years. We've had projects in Ethiopia, we've had projects in Namibia, South Africa, Zimbabwe, West Africa. And one of our most successful projects in 2010 was a company called Avion Resources.
Sure, I
which we remember that. We started that. We bought an asset from Nevson for $20 million, invested at 40 cents, right at the peak of the financial downturn in 08. Stock went to 8 cents, and then eventually we built the company to 150,000 ounces and sold it to Endeavor for half $500,000. So African Gold Group
Half a billion.
Half a billion.
Right.
Yeah. So what did I say? No, half a billion.
I was going to say that was a deal.
500 million.
Sure.
Just
yeah,
to be
that was
sure.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that was a really exemplary transaction, and that's not your first transaction either. You've done this a few times in Africa and elsewhere in the world.
we like Africa a lot because the assets are undervalued and they're cheap. But we've done several transactions. Our first big transaction in gold in this century was Desert Sun, which was in Brazil, the Jacobina mine, which we acquired for very little money from Anglo, and we turned it around, fixed it, built it, sold it to Yamana for over $700 million in 06. We have a project called Saladin in Peru, which we sold to Rio Alto, which actually became Tahoe, a 10x return. And so African Gold is in southern Mali, where Avion was, the Tabakora mine. And what I like about this project is the previous management and board came to us 3 years ago and said, listen, we need help. This project is suffering. We can't raise capital. At that time, we put in $5 million of our own capital, changed the board, brought in some powerful guys, including a guy called Sir Sam Jonah, who was head of Anglo Ashanti for many years, lives in Ghana, several of the senior people. And then the last 2 years have been tough, but we cleaned up the capital structure, cleaned up all the old debt, and now we see that Mali, the third largest gold producer in Africa, this project is ready. It's fully permitted. There's a feasibility on it. There's a full 43-101 report on it. And so what we did is we brought a good technical team, operational team, hired a guy called Danny Callow, who used to be with Glencore, one of the senior guys in Africa. He's with us now. Brought a top geologist called Andy Rumpel. I myself went in as chairman and CEO because I believe in the project, and I've called gold very well. And so now we're in the process now with this last $5 million we're raising now. We'll have enough capital to start update the feasibility, do some more drilling, metallurgical test work, clean up the infrastructure, and we're ready for construction.
Sure. Does the new sort of gold normal at $1,500 an ounce, does that change the economics of Kabata and make it actually even more attractive?
Kabata is, first of all, just on Kabata, it's a big belt. And one of the nice things about Kabata is there are many of these artisanal workings there. And they're very good because they point out to this huge belt and there's gold all along the belt. Our official resource is 2 million ounces. 1 million is measured indicated, 1 million is inferred. But we see the potential for far greater resource because it's on a small part of the property. The economics were done at $1,200 gold, which showed a rate of return of almost 50%. About a 1.5 year payback. At $1,500 gold, the numbers look phenomenal, obviously, because our cost is under $600 an ounce. all-in cost is under $800 an ounce. So you're making $600 or $700. We're going to start small because the gold market is still starting. We're going to start at 50,000 ounces. The vision is to expand gradually to 100 to 150,000 ounces, depending on exploration results. But we think we have a tiger by the tail. A big belt, permitted. Capital is about $45 million, which we can finance 60 debt, 40 equity. Malian banks are very friendly to gold, very supportive. There's local banks there that will give you credit.
Yeah.
So we're very excited about it.
Sure. Okay. So looking at, like, you've done 3 private placements in very short order, is this representative of a change in the weather for gold investors globally? Like, I mean, even had Mark Mobius on Bloomberg the other day saying, buy gold at any level. And, you know, for a guy like that, who's like 30 years with Templeton, to come down the food chain and say, buy gold, is like quite remarkable, because it's only 3 years ago when all these guys were saying, sell gold.
I was in Fox News about 10 days ago, same thing with Stu Varney. He was asking about gold. Definitely, I was at the Hamptons conference, a private equity conference. Gold was sort of in the air. And I think the psychology on gold has definitely changed. People are looking at it again. But more importantly, you know, I was asked at Fox, should I buy gold? Should I buy ETFs? Should I buy majors? And the answer is, buy junior gold stocks, because they will give you the most leverage. If you want a 10x return, buy junior gold stocks.
Right. You don't have to tell me that. I've actually been buying them since September because I sniffed a change in the air myself. Okay, so African Gold Group is now fully capitalized. The price of gold is at $1,500. The normal sort of process in the emergence of another phase of a gold bull market is first the bullion takes off, then the majors take off, then the mid-tiers, and then the juniors. We haven't seen the move in the juniors yet.
No, that's look at Bello Sud, another stock that I'm involved with. I'm one of the founders of. It's moved up from 30 cents to almost 70 cents today. It's down to about 42 cents. So people are paying attention to advanced juniors. That means permitted, partly permitted, full feasibility. The exploration juniors are still a way off, I think. And you're absolutely right. Take the mid-tiers like Kinross, it's almost doubled. And the majors will also move, I think. But you won't see a big move in the majors as you'll see in the junior, advanced junior companies that have a resource and a technical study and are in good jurisdictions.
Yeah, now on that point, it's interesting because we've gone through such a long period of no financing available to any juniors. There are remarkably few choices around of quality junior golds, quality junior exploration projects, quality junior mining projects that have been able to advance in the last 3 years. So there's really not a lot to choose from.
That's partly true, and because a lot of them have disappeared, some have moved into cannabis, as we all know. It was a great trade. I remember the .com era when the gold companies all changed their names to .com and did that. But for example, within Forbes and Manhattan Group, we've been lucky that we have our own capital, so I've kept these juniors alive through tough times. And the funds on this Bay Street have also disappeared. Very few gold funds left. It'll come back, but they're individual investors like Eric Sprott, smart investors, but the funds have really disappeared. So we have, for example, a company called Eurosun. It's in Romania, the second largest gold resource in all of Europe. We just got the exploitation permit, the first exploitation permit granted by Romania in 15 years.
Wow.
So we're ready to now move on it. There's more interest in this company. And this company had a market cap of $200 million in 2010, and now it's got a market cap of 40, 50.
Wow.
So that tells you how the world has changed. We have a great Bello Sud I mentioned. In the junior exploration, we have a tiny company called QMX, 200 square kilometer belt, right next to the Sigma mine in Val-d'Or, with 20 historical mines on this camp. Again, the stock was $1, it's trading at 5-7 cents. I love this stock. I mean, we'll definitely have big discoveries there.
Wow, okay, some names to put on your list. All right, Stan, we're going to leave it there for now. We're going to come back to you soon, and hopefully we're going to visit the Kabata project in one way, shape, or form. Thanks for joining me today.
We're planning a trip in October. You're welcome. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. All right, coming up next, Ed Milewski will be back with some more technical analysis. Narbe Alexandre will be here from Canopy Rivers. And of course, we're going to talk to Matt from RavenQuest Biomed. That's all coming up.
Hey, I know you were here.
Narbe Alexander joins me now, CEO of Canopy Rivers. Narbe, welcome back.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
You guys are, prolific in terms of the amount of information and news you guys put out. Most recently, well, not most recently, but on August 15th, purchase and supply agreement among your portfolio companies, TerraSen and JWC. To me, that was very exemplary of the value proposition inherent in Canopy Rivers. Can you tell me about that transaction and why it is so representative?
Yeah, so to take a step back, Canopy Rivers, we have two main teams, the deal team who goes after new investments, and then we have the impact team, which helps our companies grow. So the impact team's whole basis is to create an ecosystem effect with our companies. We believe, and our thesis has always been, and is going to be for a little, for quite some time, that vertical integration just doesn't work. You have companies that are trying to do too much. They're trying to be a pharma company and a consumer-facing brand. They're trying to farm and they're trying to create a brand. They're trying to be a oral spray and a sexual lubricant at the same time. You've seen all these crazy things happening in the cannabis industry, and it reminds me a lot about what the tech industry looked like back in the early 2000s, where if you were coming up with an internet company, you had to do everything. You had to be the payment rails, you had to be the e-commerce website, you had to create the network infrastructure and the servers. You had to basically create everything from scratch because nothing really existed out there. Over time, that shifted away. Now you have Shopify for e-commerce, you have PayPal for payment processing, you have Amazon Web Services, AWS for network infrastructure. That's all outsourced. We think the cannabis industry is going to move into horizontal integration. And I'm not looking at the large canopy growth type companies that have the capital and the talent to do everything, but this is for the majority of the companies out there. They need to really laser focus on what they're doing very well. You have JWC here, which is a Kitchener-based cultivator. They do aeroponics, which the roots are suspended in air, shot with water that has minerals in it. And through that process, they basically have no genetic drift of the plant itself. It's a very engineer-heavy, patented process that they're licensing out as well. And then you have TerraSen, which is a vertically integrated company, is doing very well on that end, but has a huge patient network of medical cannabis patients that JWC can sell into. Now, if they're focused on what they're doing very well, JWC cultivates, and then they sell to TerraSen, and then TerraSen sells it to their customers. You're creating a horizontal integrated system where companies are focusing on what they do best, but likewise coming together to create a vertically integrated supply chain.
Well, that's so refreshing to hear you say that because, if you look at, for example, the consumer packaged goods industry and consumable foods for human beings, Kellogg's doesn't grow corn, nor do they manufacture boxes, nor bags, nor inks to print the thing. So the horizontalization of the industry is something that is, I guess, emblematic of its maturity. So to see you guys ahead of that is heartwarming. Now, you told me that you look at a lot of different opportunities because people hear and know that Canopy Rivers is sort of like this merchant bank type of structure in the cannabis space. So tell me about the number of opportunities you look at, just to give the audience a sense of the sheer volume of data that you're measuring every week.
Yeah, so I can proudly say that I don't think any other venture fund out there within the cannabis space looks at as many deals as us. Over the past 365 days, we've seen 1,523 pitches to date. I'm not talking about just the deck comes to us and we just review it, but we actually talk to the entrepreneur. And there's all this information you can gain from secondary research, reading a pitch deck, reading a report online, but there's so much more you gain off of actually talking to the entrepreneur and understanding what that segment of the value chain looks like. So when we're investing in, call it greenhouse juice here, and we're looking at different beverages out there, we talk to all the beverage manufacturers we could talk to within the cannabis space and found out what's working for them, what isn't. What do sales look like? What does the valuation look like? What markets are they after? Where are they selling their product into? To truly create an investment thesis of why we're investing in a certain company versus other ones. This is the whole Silicon Valley mentality that we bring to Canopy Rivers that I just don't see present in many other investment vehicles within the cannabis space today. And we're really proud of all the data that we've gathered up to this point in time.
So tell me what's the sort of net asset value of your entire book at this point?
We don't publish our NAV,
Okay.
but we do have 5 analysts that do publish NAV, and the consensus is around the $4.25 range.
Okay, so and how many companies would that encompass?
18 companies.
18. So you're very particular. Look at 1,400 and you've got 18 in the portfolio.
1,518, so it's just a little
Right.
over 1%. So it's just it's the benchmark of what a venture capitalist should look like.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so then tell me from where you guys sit, where is this industry going next?
Great question. There's a lot that we keep proprietary to us just because it is our secret sauce. Kind of the 3 areas which I'd love to talk to you about are 3 things that we're really seeing moving in the industry. And that's some of it is right now, present, and then the near future, and then the long-term future. In the present, we think that brands are going to become the biggest thing within the global scale. You're already seeing it happen in the US where you have some brands coming out, creating vape pens and edibles and beverages, and they're making anywhere from $20 million to $150 million of revenue per year. This is a lot of revenue for what is a gray market, legal in that state, but illegal federally. In Canada, we're going to see a ton of innovation come through with all the large LPs and the smaller LPs looking at creating legalized beverages and drinks. And the reason I say innovation is because unlike the US, where innovation is very secluded to what that company can do, because we're legal in Canada, you have large corporations that were really pushing in their IP into creating new products. So on the beverage space, we're going to see Constellation really come through with what they're going to bring out to the market. Molson Coors and Bev, they're all 3 of them are entering the market. So a lot of innovation there. On the edible side, on the patches and in different use methods, we're going to see a lot of innovation play through. The second, more medium-term focus is on agricultural technology. When you talk to the large ag tech companies like the Bayers and the Cortivas, which is Dow DuPont Pioneer, they look at cannabis cultivation as very 1.0. All we're doing is planting the seed and waiting till it grows to cut the bud off. But when you look at other crops such as vegetables, berries, tomatoes, corn, maize, soy, there's a whole slew of innovation that's gone through there to change the way that the plant is cultivated without actually messing around with the genetics of the plant. So it's still going to be non-GMO, non-genetically modified organism, but likewise, you're going to be able to get more yield off of it, make it more stronger against pesticides and any of the things that are really suffer, like the cannabis companies are suffering from. And there's a lot you can do there. And in the long term, we think biosynthetics is the way to go. We do see a lot of correlation between something else that's happened within traditional industries, such as how aspirin was created off of birch trees or willow trees, and you don't see any cultivation of that taking place.
Right.
And you're seeing how the pharmaceutical market is really looking at the cannabis space. 7 of the 10 largest patent holders of pharma patents in the cannabis space are the large multinational pharmaceutical companies. And to get to their product out, they need a very stable cannabis isolate, which you can only get through an active pharmaceutical ingredient or API through biosynthesis.
So where's your bet in the biosynthetic space? I know there's yeast, bacteria, and algae sort of contenders. Where does Canopy Rivers see that future?
We've looked at, say, 4 dozen companies within the biosynthetic space, both the ones that are currently doing it as well as the large ingredient manufacturers for typical CPG. I'm talking about multi-billion-dollar companies that are slowly looking at the cannabis space.
Right.
And we think that all 3 have some pros and cons to it. My personal belief is I think the algae focus will probably be the best one, just because it is the most controllable and you stay the closest to the organic side. But it just really depends on what these companies can do. Our view is that within the next 12 to 24 months, you're going to see one of these companies come out and say, I got it, I found a way to biosynthesize CBD or THC or THCV or CBN, CBG, you name it. And then it's going to take another 3 to 5 years to actually get it to scale. And when I say get it to scale is it costs a lot of money to biosynthesize cannabinoids, and you need to get it to a certain point where the cost drops so that you actually compete against the organically cultivated cannabis that we see today.
Sure. So let's focus for a moment on the essence of Canopy Rivers, because this is something that I think a lot of the investing public is not aware of, despite the fact you are a publicly traded issuer. And the value proposition for an investor in Canopy Rivers is to avail themselves of the venture capital firm level of due diligence and analysis to improve their odds of having a positive experience in the cannabis sector overall. Is that the way that the investor should look at this?
Absolutely. There's think of it as an ETF, but a smarter way of doing it, because we're not public companies. We're actually investing in private companies at fantastic multiples that are lower than what you're seeing in the public markets today. So if our companies that we keep at cost for accounting reasons were to go on the public exchanges, they would get definitely enough of a lift. So you're coming in early and you're seeing what's next, what the disruptors look like of the space. It's very early in the game. It's probably the third inning of a 9-inning baseball game. And there's so much innovation that still has to happen. There's so much of a greenfield in the consumer's mind of brands. If you talk to any consumer, whether in Canada or the US or elsewhere in the world, and you ask them to name 5 brands of cannabis, they might not even get there, the average consumer. And so there's a lot of greenfield in terms of how this thing's going to grow and the amount of innovation that's going to come through. And we believe that Canopy Growth is a fantastic platform to be based off of, because they're doing everything right internally in terms of looking at every piece of the value chain. But when we look at other companies out there, we can actually pick off innovative ideas and disruptors and bring them into the Canopy umbrella and really push them forward.
You bet. All right, Narbe, I could talk to you all day long, but we're going to have to leave it there for now. Thanks very much for joining me again.
Thank you for having me.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Make sure you never miss a show by subscribing to our YouTube channel and clicking on the little notifications bell. If you're interested in getting monthly actionable investment ideas in the cannabis space to your inbox, subscribe to the newsletter at MidasLetter.com. Yeah, the African Gold Group is up quite substantially in the last couple of days. I mean, that was trading like a monster. Pull up, have you got a chart of that, Ed?
Yeah, that's, if I got one thing, I've got a chart.
One thing you got is a chart.
Yeah. Yeah, here we go.
All right.
Look at this. So.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that spike.
And that's a 3-month chart. So those are daily candles.
Yeah.
We got through the band. We stayed above the band. So you know what? You got to think, maybe it's coming in a little bit, but maybe this is the beginning of a major move.
Yeah. Well, that's just it. That's already had a major move.
I know. Now are they going to be doing some drilling?
Yeah. Well, that's what's coming up next.
There you go. See.
Drill program.
Let's start a rumor.
Let's start a rumor.
Results coming up tonight.
All right, and Canopy Rivers, what do you think of that?
Well, let's take a look at the chart.
RIV, R-I-V.
On the TSC?
R-I-V on the venture, yes, I believe.
Da-da-da-da.
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 Canopy Rivers, 252?
Oh.
Wow.
Okay, so there's one that's been, because it's a cannabis company, has obviously been painted with the summer doldrums brush and has taken it on the chin like everyone. What's the April high there? Can you see that? 450?
April high?
Yeah.
Now here we are. Yeah, it looks that way.
450. So now it's what? 451. And now it's at?
Yeah, but look where it was when it first came out. It was 10.
What's the price today?
$10.
Yeah. What's the price today?
$250.
$250.
Cut in half, me almost.
Well, that's consistent with the whole sector. I mean, you look at our charts.
I know.
And since the April highs, all of the indexes have more or less been chopped in half.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at the venture index right here.
Down 16%.
And from April highs of, let's see here, May, April. So there's April. That's May. That sucks. Let's see what's going on over here. Let's go
Really?
X and X and X and X. Anyways, so there's the there's that. What's going on with our NDI situation here? That's the right place. Oh, and that's in the wrong place. So there we go. Had to change that back. Now we should be all good. So, look at that. Like this index is down 17.48% today.
Yeah, I went through the various components of that index. It doesn't seem to be, because I don't see anything there that's down that much.
Oh, well, that can't be right then. Let's take a look.
Like I think one of them, the Cannabis is down 10%.
Okay.
Is that the one that's down the most?
Well,
but they're weighted too, right?
Yeah. Well, that's just it. Look at all of the down ones. If it's weighted.
Weighted down?
Weighted down, apparently. Yeah, but that's
not weighted up.
Not weighted up. Yeah, it doesn't. That 17% number down does not make sense. Okay, well that's interesting. Let's take a quick chat. We're going to talk to Matt from RavenQuest Bio. Now.
RavenQuest Biomed is a diversified cannabis company with divisions focused upon cannabis production, management services and consulting, and specialized research and development. RavenQuest maintains a research partnership with McGill University focused on cultivar strain recognition, plant stabilization, and yield maximization of the cannabis plant. The company focuses on partnerships with indigenous communities. RavenQuest Biomed trades on the CSE under the symbol RQB.
Matthew McDonald joins me now from RavenQuest Bio. Matthew, welcome back.
It's good to be here. Thank you, James.
Matthew, give me an update. What's the latest on RavenQuest Biomed?
Okay, so over the last 20 months or so, this company has spent its time building out 2 state-of-the-art facilities. We've now got our revolutionary orbital garden technology up and running and fully populated throughout our Edmonton facility. So that has been great. And just recently, actually, over the last about a week and a half ago, the company did a news release talking about the quality and the cleanliness of our cannabis product that's been coming out of the orbital gardens. The certificates of analysis did come back with close to 0 microbial content in the plant material itself. We have been a consultant in the space, both privately and as a public company, since 2013. We've seen a lot of COAs in our time, and that is the lowest we've seen. So that's very clean content coming out of the Edmonton Orbital Garden facility. And Health Canada just did a recent visit to that facility as well to look over the new technology that we've done there, and everything came back and passed very well with Health Canada. So we're very excited about what's been happening just in the distant past with building the facilities, and then in the recent past with the results that we're getting out of the plant material itself. So that's what's been happening recently, and we're quite excited about what's been going on there.
You bet. Okay, and tell me, how are you getting ready for the onset of the edibles market and the extracts market in Canada?
So yeah, we're big believers. I mean, a lot of the MSOs in the U.S. that we've spoken with, and we've seen some of those income statements as well, that vaporization products are going to be a dominant product in the space. And we have a differentiated product that we've been working at RavenQuest. It's what we've been working on is the formulation for what we call a whole plant extract or a full plant extract product that would be in a vaporization cartridge. What that essentially means, and what makes it different from the other products out there that you've seen that would perhaps have a single compound or a bit of THC or CBD mixed into a carrier oil from a fractional distillate. The full plant extract product is very different because it brings basically the entire plant material all the way through and shines all the way through to the vaporization cartridge. So most of the plant material inside that cartridge is most of the material inside that cartridge is plant material, and that will result in just a delightful flavor for the end user.
Wow, fantastic. And you guys have started to make some moves into Norway as well.
Well, we've got our Norwegian partners, BioCare, which we've spoken about. We signed a heads of agreement with them earlier this year with a view towards major expansion into the European marketplace. So we're very excited about the possibility of, in the near term, being able to bring that across into a definitive agreement with our Norwegian partners. And what that would mean would be beginning to expand into Portugal. We've got 2 sites picked out in Portugal already. So we've got basically our troops lined up and we're ready to go with expansion into Portugal. We're very excited about that. If you see what's been happening with the majors and you look at some of their revenues that have been coming across, significant portions of revenue from some of the major producers is coming from across the pond in Europe. So we think that just further legitimizes our efforts to expand into the European market. And believe me, we believe that beyond Portugal, because our partners from Norway have significant funding capacity and significant political relationships throughout Europe, that the expansion starting in Portugal could indeed move beyond Portugal throughout Europe as well.
So is it RavenQuest Bio's sort of plan to become like a Canopy of Europe?
Well, certainly, I mean, we've got large growth plans for Europe, starting with Portugal. And I think it's a true statement to say that there is no dominant player in Europe. We think we've selected the right partner, and that partner has been inside our Edmonton facility. They've done due diligence, as you saw in the news release, with the heads of agreement with BioCare. They did due diligence across a number of very large companies here in Canada and ultimately decided that they wanted to form a partnership with RavenQuest because of the ultra-modern facility and the orbital gardens and all the benefits that the gardens bring, using less power, using less water, using less nutrients, and producing far more cannabis on a much smaller footprint. This is really what we call Cannabis 2.0 from a perspective that we're taking it to the next level as far as producing consistent plant material, the way that we can control that environment inside those orbital gardens with precision. Our European partners in Norway saw that. They've been inside those facilities. They're very excited about the idea that we can basically drag and drop that technology in any climate, in any part of Europe, and really deliver the exact same consistent product to the end consumer or the end patient, no matter where you are in the world.
Right. Awesome. So I guess that makes RavenQuest Biomed's product is going to be very attractive to EU GMP certifiable extraction processors and to companies making cannabinoids into APIs for the pharmaceutical industry.
Absolutely, and what pharmaceutical players that are looking at cannabis are looking for is consistency of product. And when you look at what RavenQuest has built, both with the orbital gardens and the precision control we have inside that plant environment, and combine that with what we're doing with our partnership at McGill University, researching out exactly cultivar recognition, plant stabilization, and yield maximization, that addresses all of the things that pharmaceutical players are looking for to deliver a consistent product, end product, that they can work with and deliver various other products from that.
Wow, that's fantastic. All right, Matthew, we're going to leave it there for now. That's a great update. Thank you so much for joining me today.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me, James. Have a great day.
You too. Bye for now. That's one of the trips we're going to be making soon, is out to RavenQuest Biomed and see one of those orbital gardens in action. And that's going to be quite a visually stunning thing, because I've seen some photographs and it looks really cool. Have you seen one of those rotary gardens?
No.
Oh, well,
orbital or rotary?
Rotary, orbital, same thing.
What?
Didn't you know?
Well,
yeah.
Why do you need to call it two different things? Why don't we just call it one thing?
Well, you can call it whatever you want. You know, when it becomes a thing instead of a proper name, that's the sign of a true icon of a product.
A thing.
Well, when it's
like
Kleenex.
Kleenex.
Kleenex, yeah. Kleenex, yeah. Orbital Gardens. RavenQuest Bio is not the only one, but certainly one of the first. They didn't bother trying to put IP around it because it's been around. Now they've got a company in the US trying to put IP around it and give them a hard time. Good luck with that, whatever that company is called. But yeah.
It's called doo-doo.
Cock-a-doodoo.
Well, And every day I want to make sure we at least mention the S&P and mention interest rate trends.
Oh.
And then we talk about
Let's
gold.
talk about interest rate trends, Ed. What can you tell me there?
Well, that's the one area I'm not that sure I can tell you much about because I'm trying to figure out how to get the 10-year chart up here
On the
on this system, which I can do.
Oh, you just don't know how yet.
Yeah, I can.
How about the price of gold has dropped beneath $1,500?
I don't think it has.
Well, I'm talking about the spot price.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about the futures price.
Yeah, well, why would you want to live in the future?
Because that's the most active thing.
But right now is what we care about. I mean, people who think about the
What,
future are so
Back
apprehensive.
then or right now?
Immediately.
Right now?
Right now. Always. As you said, people who worry about the past are depressed, think about the past are depressed, and people who think about the future
I'm
are
pretty sure
apprehensive.
that was said by some pretty famous psychotherapists.
Some shrinks?
Ludwig von Milewski.
Polsky Ogorki! Woohoo!
The real Polsky Ogorki. We're talking
real Polsky
We're talking
Ogorki.
cucumber.
Yeah.
Okay, so look, we're seeing gold going from bottom left to top right. Stock market seems to be rolling a bit. Interest rates are so low, nobody cares.
Yeah.
And the marijuana sector looks like it's in the
Sucking
state of...
hind teeth.
Oh, Jesus. Jesus. Well, what are you going to do? Maybe smoke some pot.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to start really looking at some of these gold properties.
Yeah.
You know what? It's starting off really slow, and I think that means it's going to last a long time.
No kidding.
Could be an economic winter.
Really?
Economic winter.
Economic winter?
Ooh.
You mean where it's
The dirty,
cold out, we
the
have to burn our stock certs that we can't sell?
dirty 30s.
We don't even have stock certs anymore, do we? Actually, I've got a couple.
Well,
lying
yeah,
around.
you've got a drawer full somewhere. Don't you?
Yeah, old mining ones that went to first they went to internet companies, then they went back to mining companies, then they went to on to become crypto companies.
And you watch,
back to mining.
There's going to be a marijuana company that's going to go back to mining.
Wow, how many marijuana companies went RTO into a mining shell? And how many of those are going to go RTO back into a mining company once the smoke is cleared from the great consolidation in the sky that is just before us all? Bow down and raise hell.
You ever notice that when a lot of money has been created in a short period of time, that money seems to also get dispersed? Like
Dispersed?
Well, for instance, there's companies that have
to
raised
dispensed.
disbursements, like dispersed, like spent.
Dispersed.
Like, you know how when you're spent?
Well, spent is not dispersed.
Well, sometimes it is.
Well,
you
spending is a form
you
of
made a
disbursement.
disbursement, and now you're spent.
Yeah? Are you spent?
Ooh, I need a rest.
Want a cigarette?
At least one.
And a grape? Oh,
And
boy.
a grape?
A grape.
Peeled grape.
Peel me a grape.
I think the theme that I'm going to focus on going forward is the old gold. Old gold.
Old gold. Gold
Old.
and oldie. Old and goldie.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So what are you thinking here?
What am I thinking? I'm thinking it's, well, I've actually been buying a couple of cannabis deals, and one of them I've been buying is James E. Wagner Corporation. Now, Monday, James E. Wagner is going to have their first earnings call.
Okay, so can I make a comment? When you say an earnings call, does that mean there's going to be earnings?
Well, if it was going to be a losses call, it would be called, we're going to have our first losses call. Except with most cannabis companies, it wouldn't be your first losses call.
So you're telling me, now is this public information? I hate to even say that on a...
Is it public information? Would I be saying it in a public forum if it wasn't public information?
Okay.
Now would
Earnings
I?
call. Okay,
Would I?
well, you know what? That's Monday, right?
No, today's Thursday.
Monday they're going to make the call.
5 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday. You can tune in for James E. Wagner's first earnings call. And I have it on good authority from the very CEO himself that they're also going to give guidance on what to expect in the next quarter. which is really kind of cool.
Let's just take a look at what the stock do. Maybe we should front run it or something a bit, you know?
Front run it?
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a term you want to use in a public forum like
I don't
this.
mean it. I don't mean the way that you would think if you're a promoter.
Well, let's see what the regulators think about that. If you don't show up for work on Monday and you don't answer your phone, I'll be like, what happened to
it's
Ed?
one thing to know. You know, if you know inside information and you don't act on it.
Yeah. That's still a crime.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
If you have information, inside information,
No.
and you don't act on it, that's a crime.
Well, that's that. Yeah, you should be sent to prison for that.
That's right.
But that's for another trial.
Right.
That's for the stupidity trial.
Right.
Yeah. Well, but the point I'm trying to make here is this. I'm trying to make a point.
Okay. What's the point?
You know what? I just forgot it. I just forgot.
Really?
Yeah. I'm thinking it's Thursday. It's August. It's coming to an end. You know, I had a nice chat with Wanda Cutler today at lunch.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, and had a nice poke bowl. Poke.
Okay.
So what are you thinking?
Well, so I'm thinking, I'm liking James E. Wagner. I'm buying James E. Wagner because I do believe that the earnings are going to surprise. Now, this is not something I've been told or something that anything but my personal opinion.
Is it J-Wag?
They are not a client, but I do own shares. James E. Wagner Corporation, JWCA is the symbol, but this is what I'm thinking about, is stocks like this who are, so we've had this flood of not great earnings. In fact, uniformly shitty earnings from all of the LPs, except, of course, I have to point out, C-Web is the exception to the rule. And Aurora guidance suggests that they're going to be an exception to the rule. And I think James E. Wagner is going to surprise. Now, remember, this is their first call. They don't have any analyst coverage, and they aren't, therefore, there's no expectation. There's no analyst consensus on JWC. The stock has sold off from its high of $1.20 back in April. It's now half price, 60 cents. They come out with earnings that surprise to the upside. Guess what the stock might do? Oh, go up!
You know, unfortunately, there are times when making money doesn't matter. But then eventually it always does. Like we need to see fundamentals, and the flu that this marijuana sector has contracted.
Flu?
Well, it's a sort of a financial flu.
Financial flu?
Yeah.
Unlike a financial fluke.
Or a financial flu, like that's in your fireplace.
Or a financial flop.
If you don't regulate the flu properly, your financial situation could deteriorate.
Because you'll die of carbon monoxide poisoning?
No, because all the money will fly out the door.
Because you don't regulate the flu.
The flu.
The financial flu?
How do you spell that flu?
F-L-U.
No.
No, F-L-U-E.
Yes.
Got me there.
Okay.
Good ones.
Okay.
All right, so what are you thinking?
I'm thinking I'm going to watch the S&P. If the S&P starts to roll over here,
Yeah.
Kitty bar the door.
Katie, bar the door.
No, Kitty bar the door.
Batten down the hatches.
Kitty bar the door.
Kitty, bar the door.
Batten down the hatches.
Kitty, bar the door.
Batten down the hatches.
The way of the future. Yeah, well, I think so. Let's see, what else do I think? I think that Donald Trump has really pissed off the Jewish people.
The Jewish community. Yeah.
I think he's going to live to regret that. Now,
There aren't that many Jewish people in the world. Did you know that? Like,
I mean, there's not that many Jewish people.
No, I think there's only about 9 million in the entire world.
9 million.
Yeah. No, you can Google it.
9 million.
Okay, well, let's just Google it.
What? What do you mean?
Say, how many Jewish people are there in the world?
Well, how the hell? What? That seems like a very low number to me.
I know. That's what's.
How many Jewish?
I said no. It's probably got to be more than 9 million.
There's 9 million Jewish people in Toronto.
Okay.
15 million.
Okay, 15.
Still, that's not much.
Okay, well, you see, you thought it was going to be.
Well, that's in the United States only.
Oh, 50. Okay, outside the United States, it's not many.
Well, what about in Israel? There's probably a few there. Boy, oh boy. Okay, so Israel has 6.5 million. Oh, wait, you know what? The world Jewish population is 14.5 million.
There you go. I know. And And we're just
But
stating facts.
it says here the enlarged Jewish population is 20,499,000. Now, what do they mean by enlarged? It's not the same as engorged.
Oh, I've been engorged once before.
By a Jewish person?
Woohoo! Woohoo! What kind of party is this?
Yeah, no doubt. Well, that's interesting. I didn't realize that the population was that modest.
I really want to see this S&P market, that market right there. That's the S&P over there.
Yeah.
You see that congestion that's building?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go close in on that.
Can we
Pull up
it
your
up?
chart.
Pop it up.
Pull up your chart, Edward. I'm gonna go tune into the YouTube channel and see who's hanging out over there. How about that?
You mean the U2? You like YouTube?
YouTube.
YouTube.
YouTubey.
We talked about
boy.
the S&P earlier. This area here. Get that market right there.
Yes.
Look at this. Yeah, we got a definite line there, and we got a definite line there.
No kidding.
And whichever way that resolves itself, I think, maybe. But you see how this Bollinger Band, which has been moving up,
Yeah.
starting to roll, right?
Yeah.
And down here, this one is starting to point south. Up here, they both pointed.
Pen that because nobody can see what you're talking about.
Okay, nobody can see?
No, you
Here.
got to put your little.
There's my Bollinger Band
there
heading
we go.
south.
Yeah.
Another one heading south. So that's where your trading range is. But unlike here, they were going this way.
Yeah.
Your channel was pointing up. Now your channel is pointing down.
Yeah. So does that mean the market's going to crash and we should all run for the
Well,
hills?
you know what? What is gold telling us? Gold telling us there's something wrong in the financial sector.
Gold's telling us to buy gold.
Gold's-
But, the Chinese basically held out the olive branch to Donald Trump and said, "You meet us halfway, and we got ourselves a deal."
Yeah.
Now, knowing Donald Trump being the consistent,
He's not going to
trustworthy, mentally stable genius that he is,
Special kind of genius.
special kind of mentally stable genius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just a normal genius, but
No.
a special kind of genius.
Stable genius, which means he did all his schooling. He became a genius out back with the horses in the stable.
He
He got kicked in the head by a horse, and instead of being stupefied,
He was
became
made a genius.
geniufied.
geniufied.
Yeah, but no, Donald Trump being the stable genius that he is, I'm pretty sure he's going to say to the Chinese, "You know what? You got yourselves a deal. Let's do that." And then they're going to turn around and fly back to Hong Kong, Beijing, rather. They're not allowed in Hong Kong anymore.
They're not?
No,
Why?
it's because the Hong Kong people kicked them out.
Jesus.
Yeah. No, I'm just making that up. But then by the time these guys land back in Beijing, assuming they come here, Donald Trump will have changed his mind. He'll be like, "You know what? Those Chinese have been taking advantage of us for years. Fuck, deals off." And the trade war will be back on. And Donald Trump, his economic legacy will be one of utter confusion. And even the guys even the Fed governors at Jackson Hole are going to be they're going to be couching their words in terms of both hawkish and dovish, because they're mostly afraid that if they piss off the Trumpster, they're going to be out of a job. They're going to be down the highway. They're going to be unemployed.
Are they going to be sold down the highway?
They're going to be basically put out to pasture.
They say that the recession is starting to reverse. I'm not saying that China's in a recession, but that's what a lot of people are saying. That
China's in a recession.
Yeah.
China is going to grow by 6 to 7% this year.
Well,
so
it's a recession for them.
For them? Well, if you consider that they were growing at 12%, now they're growing at 6%, the rate of growth has receded, but the economy is not in recession. It's still in expansion.
Really?
Well, if it's got 6% positive growth, then that's 6% expansion.
Yeah, the markets. Okay, so we're going to talk about interest rates tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow we're going to talk. Yeah,
Tomorrow's Friday.
yeah,
Isn't that the day we talk about booze and drugs?
and rock and roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really. So
I'm
what's
not-
your big fat plan the weekend, Edward?
Well, probably going to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Do a lot of walking, soul searching.
Soul searching.
Yeah, I'm going to go to Korea and do some soul searching.
Soul sister, soul sister. Let's see here. What's going on? Oh, man. Okay, you know what? I think what you want to do is you want to see my marijuana plants, right?
Yes.
And these are the AC/DCs. Oh! What happened? Why are they dark? That doesn't make sense. Oh, because the battery's off? Damn, I got to charge the battery in there. Let's see if these ones are on. Coming. Ding, 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 ding. Oh, it's dark in there. Oh, because the lights just went off. Yeah, but there's the infrared picture of the plants. But yeah, that's a close-up of the dirt there.
Wow.
Yeah, that's some nice looking dirt, eh?
Those are all albino plants, I think.
Yeah, this is white widow. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed our little show today. We're going to be back tomorrow with a whole bunch more tomfoolery, shenanigans, and psychological, intellectual analysis and predictivity. So goodbye. Thank you. Goodbye.